You know, I'm just really happy that Margaret, even though she died this year, did know that she was, you know, her work was going to be seen finally and
Right.
that people were taking it seriously. And I think that made her extremely happy.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Wise, and I am executive editor at Artforum. Today, I am very pleased to be speaking with the artist Ann Nöel about her dear friend, the artist Margaret Raspé. We are very pleased to feature an untitled drawing by Raspé from the 1970s on the cover of Artforum's January issue. So to begin, Anne, you're an artist yourself, and I'd love to hear a little bit about your relationship with Margaret. How did you meet? How did you come into her artistic orbit, or how did she come into yours, or how did that come about?
I met her on her birthday in 1981 at her birthday party, where I unfortunately sat on a sink in her kitchen and it came off the wall. So since then, we've been very good friends, you know. Yeah.
I love that. And her first work, her first major work, the helmet
Yeah.
Holmes, was also very directly engaging her own experience as a
Yes. No,
caretaker and a housewife.
cook,
Yeah,
dishwasher,
right.
housewife, you know. Yeah. She started making her films in the 70s where she was filming herself washing dishes and baking bread and doing household things with
Mhm.
a helmet on her head and a camera mounted to this helmet on her head. And then the drawing that you have now on the cover of the magazine was part of a kind of automatic drawing series that she made. She was experimenting all the time with new ways of creating images.
So, in the January issue of Artforum, we have published three photographs drawn from Margaret's 1989 performance, Action for Our Rivers. And these were photographs that you took. Could you speak a little bit about how that came about, how you happened to be there?
Yes, Margaret organized this exhibition in Reggio Emilia. She'd been working with Rosanna Chiesi, who, you know, was making many editions with many very international artists, and also with the Palazzo Ruini, which was the place where the exhibition took place. And we all were trying to work with the environment in some way because that was her idea. It was Margaret's idea to make the exhibition. She invited all of the artists and I went with her in the car. I was lucky enough to be able to travel with her in the car to see what she was doing, because I think that the other artists weren't quite aware of her work. And we went to visit this very large, wide river in Reggio Emilia, and she laid like whole barriers of wool across the river to catch all of the dirt in the water as it flowed through it. And she was in the river herself, dressed in a white robe, you know, like a nymph or a water goddess or something like that, also catching the dirt in the river. So, you know, she was like really interested in trying to bring people's attention to the fact that they were already then in the 70s destroying the world, you know. And I made the photographs just because I was there photographing things that I found on the ground, you know.
So I find it surprising that an artist who made so many extraordinary works has received so little attention.
Yeah,
And
well, you know, I mean, artists tend to be very egocentric.
yes,
And I think a lot of the
sure.
international artists who were working with her thought that they were the important ones, and she was
Right.
just letting them make exhibitions in her garden. And they never kind of, you know, cottoned onto the fact that she was making very interesting work herself. But unfortunately, women sometimes, you know, were treated that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she also came to her artistic practice somewhat later in life. Is that
Yeah,
true?
well, I mean, you know, if you're bringing up three small daughters, you
Yeah.
don't have much time for yourself. So, you know,
Yeah.
they had to grow up a bit before she could like really spend the time on her own work. And she
Yeah.
also had a husband to take care of when he was still there, you know.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. And then she made these extraordinary films with the firewalkers in Greece, you know, these people who
Oh,
uh,
right.
get themselves into a whole trance. And she photographed, she was allowed into their houses to see them working themselves up into a trance. And then when they were absolutely like beyond themselves and not feeling anything, they walked over glowing coals. They danced over these glowing coals and didn't burn their feet. And she made a wonderful film record of this with her Super 8 camera. Was amazing.
And also just this encounter between a performance and the documentation of the performance. That seems a theme in her work.
Yes, yes. No, I mean, I think, again, it's the process of art, I think it's important for many artists, how you come to be doing something and why you're doing it. And it was very much an important part of her work. It had to have some relation to nature. It had something to do with, human beings and how they respond to nature. It all has to do with that. And she was a little bit unhappy that no one was really picking up on what she had done.
Sure.
But yeah. But I mean, I wish she could have realized, now, that she has a catalog. She didn't even know she didn't even see her catalog finished. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we are so happy to be able to celebrate her accomplishments in our pages.
Okay. Very nice to speak with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye bye.